Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the show. It's already been 2 weeks, and so, my friends, I'm sorry, I love you. I'm sorry that it's been 2 weeks. And I apologize if this audio quality in this episode is not quite ideal. Bad news is that my mic cable gave out tonight, so my really great podcasting mic is out of commission. But really cool good news is that I am doing this audio through my camera because this is also going up on YouTube, because now this podcast exists in podcast land as well as a visual video on YouTube, so that you and I, if you want, can spend time together through these conversations closer and face to face, and be even more connected, even though surely we're so far apart. But remember, consciousness is everything, and in whatever timing you are listening to this, it is always perfect timing. You know, like right now, I am recording this right now, and you are participating with me and receiving me in your now. And are those moments not connected? Because they're both right now for both of us. So if you want to come over and join me in any conversation in YouTube, the video link for this conversation right now is in the show notes of this episode to make it really easy for you. And so if you're new here to the podcast, to Sovereign Soul Radio, because maybe you're just waking up to all of this and somehow our paths are crossing and perfect. Or maybe you're finding me through my YouTube channel, which has existed for some years but has been very inactive until now. And so, hey, my new friend, I hope that you're doing good whenever you are and whenever you are watching this. And sorry, wherever you are. But as I always want to remind everybody, it's like we're in crazy hard times. We are in such confusing and chaotic and polarizing times that even if you're not feeling all that good, all that on top of it, all that hot right now, you know, that is so to be expected with everything that is going on. So regardless of how you got here, thank you. Thank you for spending time with me. Thank you for being here with me. You matter. Your journey matters. The energy that you are matters. I truly feel that it matters more than any of us know. That even just you existing and you working on yourself and you being the light that you are, that on its own is enough. And anything on top of that is just icing, and that's perfect. So it's been a couple weeks since I've uploaded any episodes, and I apologize for that. I've got to know that batching episodes works really good for me. My productivity goes up and my stress goes down, and I hope it makes you really, really happy. But I batched everything, and then my soul pulled me back into some silence. And maybe you could resonate with this. Maybe you can't. So just for me, in my human experience, just being an only child, being, you know, a life path 1, being a Capricorn, being whatever, you know, all of the little things that make each one of us so unique. For me, I've got a pattern of silence often, where I really do not like speaking unless there's truly something to be said. I don't ever wish to be a voice that is just adding to noise, you know, and you know, part of that surely is from fear of how am I going to be received? Am I likable? Am I going to be accepted? Am I lovable? Blah, blah, blah. You know, like, of course, a tad of that is there. But at the same time, I feel like soul pulls me into these spaces of, like, quiet solitude for me as a being to integrate and process and anchor and do, like, the spiritual energetic work. And even, you know, sometimes I think that maybe that's why I do not have children yet, is because my role needs to be what it is at this time. But, I mean, Now I'm just rambling about myself instead of telling you that, you know, for you or for me, like if we're being pulled into periods of silence right now or solitude, even if we don't quite understand it, it may be for a really important, an important reason that we might not just understand yet, you know? So I'm I feel like I've been in this quicksand, or this silence that's made of quicksand, and that I've been doing like my best to pull myself out, yet there's been something really sacred about this silent quicksand that has had me It's been very much a space of incubation and processing, and I feel like I'm processing for more than just myself. So, it's felt purposeful just with our standards that we put on ourselves and one another for social media. I often have to repel and integrate an oncoming shame storm about my ability and desire and purpose of being in silence. I hope all of this is making sense. I'm apologizing for the delay in our connection, but at the same time, as I'm telling myself that, we are in end days of a type, we are in the days of everything changing. So that's going to affect all of us in such unique ways, in ways that we cannot even expect, So if these times, if your soul is urging you or asking you of anything that is not maybe quite your normal, or maybe you need more periods of solitude, or maybe, I don't know what that means for you, but whatever your heart and soul are saying at this time, I implore you to listen, to truly listen, because if our intuition has ever been needed, and important, and probably also very, very available to us, I think it's got to be now. So for me, there's been a lot of silence and so much contemplation and integration. And I know most people's lives don't create the ability for that. And I'm very grateful that during this time, that's what's happening for me. I'm grateful for it. But on the other hand, there's been a lot of disconnection and loneliness, and honestly, COVID depression. I don't use that word lightly, because I feel like depression can be it's such a monster of so many angles and so many understandings, and that's such a complicated one. But I really feel like that it's just really about this collective dark night of the soul that we're really all going through, as well as I tell you that dark night of the soul is very much like an onion becoming unpeeled, but that I've also just been going through deeper layers of my own dark night of the soul, because it's a damn onion. It's not a simple thing of just opening a door and getting through it again and again. So for you, what is going on? What is shifting in your reality right now? Is your inner dialogue shifting? Are your priorities shifting? Where you thought that you'd be putting your attention and energy and focus, is that actually changing in ways that you're not expecting? For myself, I feel like I come on here and we talk about how, we're going through this rebirth. So you're going to notice changes in your life. You're going to notice a lot of things changing about you, and changing about what you want, and changing about what interests you, and maybe what you're curious about. And of course, I expected that to also be happening in my own life. But over the last couple of weeks, it slapped me in the face. In a way of, changes are happening inside of me, but changes that I didn't expect. Yeah. So on that note, what is really shifting for you? Because if there's a lot in a lot of different areas shifting for you, cool. And I think we really got to pay attention to it and really allow these shifts to happen. So this might be in shifts in how you look at yourself, shifts in how you dress, in how you do your makeup, shifts in how you do your hair, shifts in, what you want to do for work or for schooling or relationships coming together or parting, there's just so much change happening right now that let's expect and welcome these changes. But not only the changes that make sense to you and the changes that maybe you're already slightly aware of, or the changes that you could imagine, because there might be changes coming for you that are coming completely out of left field, that you just that you might not even realize you'd be a person who's interested in this or likes that or whatever. So, just prepare yourself for changes of massive kinds coming, because it's all getting really interesting. I have been feeling torn between timelines. This has kind of been creeping on for about the last 6 months, of certain points come in, because we're in this merging of timelines right now, and certain points come where I can tap into future aspects of me, and it kind of feels like they're connecting into these now moments. But during these times of connection, and I know that this might not make sense how I'm saying it, but during these times of connection, how I perceive myself is radically different. And this might sound this could sound superficial, but for me, it's been a really clear marker of where timelines are merging. And it's that I keep feeling like my dreadlocks have to go. And that's something that like I've never assumed that I would be without them, because they are so pragmatic, they are so frugal, they are so healthy, they are so clean, they are so effortless, they are so great for a lot of reasons. But something like future me doesn't have them. And so future me is showing herself to current me. And for current me, it's been so confusing just to have in certain days have a complete change of mind and heart on something that I thought was very, very stable in myself and had a lot of longevity. And suddenly I'm getting these glimpses of days where it's like, no, that's not what the reality is anymore. And then it shifts back and it kind of keeps like teetering and toggling. And I know I'm just saying this is about my hair, but my hair to me is it really denotes certain timelines, if that makes sense. I'm not sure if that's making sense, but I hope that you're getting the gist of it. And also, I hope that you're okay with this episode, and I meant to say this at the beginning, that this is just us having a bit of a check-in. We're coming back to regular episodes, at least 1 to 2 times a week, including also 3 YouTube videos every week, which I'm really stoked about. And I know in my last episode, I told you that new website is up and YouTube is up, but again, I batched those with how does that go? My eyes were bigger than the plate was bigger than my eyes. They're not complete yet, but we're very close. And also, I'm thinking and hoping that you do enjoy these episodes that are me just talking more casually without me heavily teaching and, talking about some heavy, big soul stuff and some really big concepts. Because, last month when I did that 2-hour episode called like a long check-in, that episode did extremely well. So that let me know that like you are in this for just like the long nighttime or morning conversations where we can just spill our hearts and be humans together. And like, so yeah, I'll start doing more of those also. I hope that they serve you well as well. And in coming episodes, I've got like some more important topics. You know what I mean by important topics, like the ones about like re-educating ourselves as humans. We got a lot of those coming up. And I'm also going to start doing a quite frequent, I'm not quite sure how frequent, but quite frequent kind of chat, breakdown, commentary, conscious, compassionate narrative on my take on what is going on in this current realm. Holy shit right now, because you guys know stuff is getting crazier and crazier and crazier. And again, I truly believe that this is good. And I know, again, I've been really silent on Instagram. Well, not really silent, but I've been not crazy loud, but I've also been silenced and shadow banned on Instagram. So like if we have been connecting there, let me just talk about this for a minute. Instagram deleted this podcast Instagram account. They deleted it because I'm being shadow banned, because I have studied the QAnon stuff for years now, and I am very, very well versed on the corruption and the break apart of everything that is going down right now. So with that, like if you were following this podcast on Instagram, and I'm sorry that it wasn't really ever up to date. I've had such a love-hate with social media, and that's something that I'm growing through for myself. So my sincere apologies on that. So this one is going to have a new Instagram account, and I just tried to make it. And I get through it, and it's like, yeah, go ahead with this name. This works. Everything, it's good. And then it runs into an error message and makes me try again, but it just keeps doing that. So I'm absolutely being shadow banned. So I'm going to have to start doing this for now under my sovereign.id.rose account. So I'm going to load everything into that one account, I think, for now. Also, again, website will be up soon. And then that way we have a way to access information together. There will be an email list. There's going to be blogs. There's going to be links to all of my YouTube videos as well as podcasts. So if all else fails, if I get shadow banned everywhere, we can still go to my website, thesovereignsouls.com, and we will meet up there. Currently, it's still a colonic website, and it'll be switched over within about a week. So, so on Instagram, the podcast account was shut down. Thanks, Instagram. Thanks, Mark Zuckerberg. Thanks. And then my regular account, I've lost a whole bunch of folks. A whole bunch of me and other researchers have become torn apart or divided and can't find each other. People have just unfollowed me, not even knowing that that's happened. And my stories went down 400% for the amount of viewers that were in them. So I've had a huge loss in connection there, which it sucks. And honestly, at first it was really hard on my heart because I thought that it was something about me. And then I realized, no, so many people within this realm of conversation have been completely deplatformed. There's lawsuits now, yada, yada, yada. But I'm not going to talk more about this in this little episode that we're doing right now, because I want this more to be just a loving check-in. And in my next episode, we'll talk through a lot of what's happening, just to give you a bit more food for thought, a bit more guidance, and understanding a bigger, broader perspective, and hopefully more accurate perspective of what is going on. I do not talk about much that's speculation. I'm really clear with what is speculative, what is hypothesis, and then what is actually fact and truly happening with proven evidence right now. So we'll talk more about that in the next one, because what is happening even in the last week, no news stations are reporting on it, even though this is the biggest news ever. So we're going to talk about that for sure. But I've got to be so careful now. And I want to share, and I want to talk, and I want to connect. But at the same time, I don't want to keep getting lost because I keep getting shadow banned. So we'll figure that out, and hopefully the YouTube actually works considering the stuff I talk about. So even on the YouTube channel, there's the podcast is going to be on there. There's going to be a lot of videos with all holistic health and healing, self-care, how to be your own doctor. And I say that lightly. I say that with an appropriate disclaimer. Yes, always go to a doctor when you need a doctor. But in general, when things are going a little wonky in the body or we have an issue, we gotta be intelligent enough people to take care of things in alignment to nature. You know what I mean? Because that's where healing happens. And there's so much that we can always do for ourselves. Always. So I really want to educate on that. So the YouTube channel is going to be the podcast. It's going to be holistic healing. It's going to be self-care. And it's going to be a lot of conscious, soulful conversations. But there's also going to be forest talks. Those are going to be amazing. And there's also going to be more lifestyle and vlog and, a platform where I get to mush all the great creative parts of myself together. So my YouTube channel is going to have kind of a different series within it. So, but all in all, it is all there to help us be better people, to human better, but at the same time, know ourselves as souls better and remember ourselves more fully, because what is any of this if we're not trying to know God in ourselves, if we're not trying to make ourselves better for ourselves and also for one another? What is all of this if we're not going to utilize it for our highest growth and for helping each other and healing each other, right? Yeah, because yeah. So what I do want to say about what is going on in the world right now, since the next episode is probably going to be a day or two after this, where we can really have a good catch up about what's a good catch up about what is going on right now. I do just want to say that your news station doesn't have true answers, does not have truth at this time. That's such a vague thing to say. What I mean is that the degree of corruption that has existed and that is publicly about to break loose is so incredibly ginormous, humongous, gigantic, gargantuan, massive, implosive. I don't have enough adjectives What this is, like, now we are entering the stage where the evidence, the overwhelming evidence, is just starting to like spew out of the top of like the biggest volcano right now. Like, we're talking massive volcano of truth, of horribleness, is like, it's just starting to like spray its first little bits of like ashes and lava and stuff. And this is like a volcano that is going to cover the whole planet so that we rebuild. That's a decent analogy. I hope that that's good for you. So many media stations and whatnot are not going to be accurately reporting on this and are going to push and push and push, like try to suppress this and suppress this and suppress this, because remember that media, most all media and most all folks working in media, like not every single person, right? But like a lot are all complicit to these horrible crimes, to sedition, to treason, to racketeering, to human trafficking, to the worst things that are going to come out. So this information is going to be suppressed as long as possible, but there's nothing that can stop what's coming. There's nothing that can stop this. And we are about to reach the place where, like, it's so good that so many folks have already woken up. And like, I know I've connected with some of you, and you are all amazing. And for so many that I know that I haven't connected with, and guys, for whoever has messaged me to the Soul Radio, to my Instagram account for this, I can't, like, there's no way that I can get your messages now. And like, I am so sorry in my heart about that. So please, my email address, if there's something important that you wanted to share or say, or if you have also like rated this podcast and if you want to have a 30-minute discovery call with me, completely in support of you, not a sales call, okay? Like, just a completely supportive call. Like, I am so here for that, okay? But still, like, if I have missed somebody's messages, like, please email me, thesovereignsouls@gmail.com, and we can please communicate that way, okay? So just with everything that's coming out now, normies, like people that have been super, super asleep, they are about to be shaken awake. So we are in the times now where, like, the more that we can be praying, the more that we can be meditating, the more that we can be in our center. Whether you want to call that, like, you know, your calm place or the 0 point, or the more that we can be stable and energetically inwardly sustained, you know, so that like we are our own rocks and we are solid in ourselves. That is a very powerful place for us to be right now, not just for ourselves and our loved ones and our children and our family, but like energetically holding down the grid in general for everyone. If there was ever a time that we needed, like, all of us light workers to be like, you don't have to be on point, you don't gotta be perfect, but the more that we can be like actively grounding ourselves and in our heart and aware of what's happening, the better. We are in the most important weeks, and this is mighty exciting, and it's also like, holy shit, what the fuck, you know? Yeah, so much happening. So again, like, yeah, the more that we can be taking really good care of ourselves, our nervous systems, our bodies, this is a great time also. And I want to talk about this because, you know, I keep having these really good talks with people, but as well as like in my own family, that, you know, all of us are going through growth right now, even those that are very asleep to it. You know, like, everybody's soul wants soul remembrance. Everybody's body wants self-healing and is available to it. You know, just we get in our own ways. But like, people are wanting to come home to themselves. People are wanting a life upgrade. People are wanting now to actually choose for themselves the path that best fits their soul, you know? So to be expecting changes happening in everyone. And if there's areas in our life where we've got some ickiness in relationships, or some areas where things get really convoluted, or we're butting heads with a family member or a colleague or whatever, like, these are really, really good times for us to have a good conversation. And I want to remind you that, like, there is always a compassionate and kind and honest and respectful and respecting way to say anything that needs to be said. And so if there's something important in your heart or in your mind to be said, always like know that having that conversation is probably a really, really good thing. And hopefully, and well, no, you will know when it is right timing. But, you know, to have like discordant energy with people can be like completely remedied and balanced and become coherent through just an honest, compassionate conversation where defenses can be down, where we can clearly say what it is that we mean and what it is that we feel while taking responsibility for our feelings and not putting that on someone else. You know, and if we can, you know, and if you have an area in your world or in your mind or in your heart where a conversation like this is needed, remember to come from the most expansive perspective that you can. And so how do you get there? You get there by, you know, in a certain given situation, like understand and imagine, like see what your perspective is. And then try to like take off your shoes and take a step over and then be like, does the perspective shift at all? Or from this person's perspective, does the situation change? You know, and at first it's hard to put yourself in other people's shoes or pretend to, but then it begins getting really, really easy. And then you check yourself for your own bullshit. You know, you try to see how other people are perceiving a situation or even how other people are perceiving you, you know, and then we think about like, what is the best outcome? What is a solution that is good for everyone? What is, and from all the different perspectives that you can, and looking as broad as possible, you know, and even take that, you know, as we talked a few episodes ago, to take that perspective from like your deathbed, looking back at this current situation, you know, what is the wisest solution and what is the most compassionate solution that honors your own boundaries and does not impede on the boundaries of other people, you know? So just know that if there's a conversation that is needed to have, like, yes, you cannot control the reaction of someone else, right? And you can't control how someone perceives you, but at the same time, there are very kind ways to say what needs to be said and to be really responsible for yourself, and then also to set a tone where a person can consciously respond to you, hopefully in a way that is, you know, somewhat similar to how graceful you were. So just know that that creating the important conversations, we are in great times to do that. And, you know, if there is something like this in your world, that it might, like, that can really help shift timelines in really benevolent ways, not just for yourself, but for other people as well. And that can have very, very powerful ripples. Side note, like me and my mom, since, you know, I've been moved away for 5 years, well, really since like 2007 or 2013. And so I've, you know, lived very, very far. And so with my mom, we've had to really master communication because voice calling has been our primary source of communication for years now. And so we have really, really mastered how to gracefully communicate and hear each other and be very, very respectful. Like, we're both at the point now in our relationship, and I'm so grateful this is happening. You know, I'm in my 30s and my mom is not quite 60. Like, I'm so stoked that this is happening at this stage of life and not even later. But, you know, there's not anything that either one of us could say to each other to actually upset one another at this point. Like, I truly do not think so, because we could have completely opposing ideologies, but we still love each other and respect each other. And like, I know that her intentions are just good. No matter what, her intentions towards me are good, period. And mine towards her are good, period. So therefore, like, hard things can be said if necessary, you know, because we know our intentions, you know, and we know that our love for one another, that's what's solid, you know. So, you know, and I hope that other relationships in my life can get to this point. And I know that a lot of people have like really challenging relationships with their parents. And to know that maybe it's possible for things to shift better if we want that. I don't know. You know, I know that everybody has such a different life, different relationships, but, you know, we all have challenging relationships, of course. And like, especially during these times, because things are very polarized and a lot of people are very confused right now. There's so much fear mongering. There's been, you know, now 2 decades of heavy, heavy brainwashing within our society. So like, yeah, we're all a little messed up, like all of us. So, yeah. So my point there is, if there's important conversations, they are worth having, even if they're scary, even if you don't know what they'll bring, even if whatever the fear is, even if it's still important. And it can change. It can change more than you'll expect it to change. And to finish that idea with my mom, just tonight, or just actually right before I started recording, we were having a phone call, and out of true honesty, I did not want to hear kind of the family drama that she was sharing, because I was really trying to like get in the groove of like being here with you. But at the same time, you know, it's like, okay, well, my mom has something that she needs to talk through, and I'm the one that's here. So like, sure, I've got 20 minutes. I can be supportive. Like, yeah, of course you can do that, Ivy. You know, and then the conversation, you know, it helped give me clarity on even just this point that I wanted to share. And at the end of it, you know, my mom was like, Ivy, thanks for teaching me how to talk. And number one thing, it's weird when your parents thank you for teaching them something. When like so many decades, they were like, you're the child, you can't teach me anything. So now to have the tables turned, I feel like it's really interesting, and my heart is big. And you know, the little girl in me is like, yeah, you listened, see? But that was really cool not to hear her appreciation, because like, whatever, we just, you know, we learned how to communicate better, and so much of this has been honestly through trial and error with her. So I don't think she can thank me too much, but to know that she was like, okay, this problem, you know, this issue with this person and this person, I know that when the time is right, if I get pulled into it, I'm going to know exactly what to say, and I'm going to be wise with my words, and I'm going to be calm, and I'm going to be compassionate, and I'm going to hold my own boundaries, and I'm not going to take any shit, but I'm going to kindly say what I really have contemplated that truly does need to be said. You know, and it was really, really cool to hear her not be in a place of anxiety about this, and in a place of like attack or defensiveness or anything like that, but really to see my mother just in this place of wisdom of like when the time comes for it to be handled, I'm going to soulfully, compassionately, kindly, respectfully get this shit handled. And that's really, really cool growth. And I think that that's really important growth for so many of us right now. Again, because we are in such reactive times. We are in such cathartic times and catalyzing times. And I think our media has made us extremely trigger happy with our negative emotions and our negative ego, right? Like, we get offended about everything and anything. Like, we are a bunch of insane people at this time in general that, you know, we're so oblivious to our own reactivity and our own triggeredness and stuff. And I'm sure that, you know, a lot of you listening have done so much work on yourselves, but I know that you can see this in, you know, the people that have been more asleep. And I don't say that in a way of pointing fingers, because remember, like, for those of us who are more awake, and those of us who, you know, have been light workers or are becoming light workers or remembering ourselves, like, yes, we are the ones that are already awake. Whether we've been awake for a long time or a little time, it doesn't matter. You know, waking is waking, and which is amazing. But guys, we are the ones to hold space for those that are just waking up. And there's going to be so many people with so much trauma from what we're all about to go through. So to kind of shift the conversation here, I want to say that, like, whatever it is that you do that brings light and like makes you shine and radiate and also impacts other people, do more of that. You know, whether it's like you like sitting on the corner with your guitar making music for people, awesome. You make art, awesome. You play with children so well, awesome. You know, you motivational speak, amazing. You make soup for the hungry and the poor, amazing. Like, so whatever it is that lights up your heart with service, for service for others, or like service to the planet, service to, you know, the sentient beings of this planet, like whatever gets your heart and soul on fire with purpose and compassion and creativity, like, in case you needed permission outside of yourself, I give you permission. This is time for us to sink more into your heart. you know, and again, we've got so many people to help going forward. So, you know, if you're dreaming about that healing retreat center like I am, let's do it. You know, if there's books to be written in your heart, or a center to be made, or a school to be made, or like a kindergarten forest thing, or like whatever it is that you see a need for and you have passionate curiosity, creativity, whatever about, oh my goodness, this is your time to shine. This is the time to like shift focus or shift energy or like truly believe in yourself or whatever it is. These are such important times. So like absolutely listen to that voice inside of you. So again, I really want to say thank you for being here with me. I am really, really glad that and thankful that even after a couple hiccups with technology tonight, and again, I'm so sorry if this audio is not good quality. We will be back on point in the next episode. But I'm really grateful that I still showed up for this. And I've like the last 2 weeks, I've been such a struggle inside to show up for this because I didn't know what was worth saying. And every time I would come to sit down, I would just feel like something just cut off in my throat, like in my throat chakra. It was just like shut down, but not like necessarily like in a bad way, like in an important, this door had to close for a bit of time. But it feels really good just to be back and sharing and realizing that you don't always have to have a plan. Sometimes you just have to sit down and like get into your heart and open your mouth and trusting that some of the right things are going to come through. So thank you for being here with me, because this is, you know, another initiation of me into next version of service and creativity. And again, like I told you, that I kind of feel like I've been bitch slapped by lots of shifts in my own life. And it's been a bit shocking and a bit confusing and a bit uncomfortable, of course. But of course, change isn't always comfortable, and change isn't always going to be apparent before it shows up, or even what you thought was going to show up. Damn it, but it's good still. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to connecting more. Yeah. So if you are watching here with me, you will notice that I am rashy AF, and that's just the next thing that I wanted to quickly touch on is that as we're going through all of these shifts in humanity, these energetic shifts, these shifts in our bodies, because like literally everything is shifting right now, even though it's hard to perceive in like 3D reality in time as it appears linear. Like things are confusing. But if you do have points of sensitivity in your human body, these things might be exacerbated right now because of energetic influences, because of the collective chaos that we're in right now, because of this unveiling, because of this turmoil, because of everything that's really going on. So if you do have certain symptoms, which are the symptoms that you get when you're integrating, when your body's going through stuff, when you're going through emotional stuff, I think it's very, very likely that we might be experiencing more of that right now. So please, like, be gentle with yourself if you are experiencing more of whatever your normal body's messenger is, if that makes sense, right? So for me, if you are watching me right now, you can see like, I don't know how much you can see in this lighting, but I'm very, very rashy on my face, but predominantly on my hands and my wrists and my arms and my neck and like my collarbone area. So it's mighty darn uncomfortable, and it's been steady, pretty crap bad for these last couple of weeks. And yes, maybe it's a little bit diet, a little bit stress, but it really just feels like during these days that we're in, like, yes, mine is topical steroid withdrawal, but at the same time, my skin has always been a messenger. So in these days that we're in, it's like, of course my skin is flaring. Of course it is. And so I expect, I don't want to say that I expect that it's going to keep flaring, because then I'm just creating more of that. But like, I've made myself okay if the reality is, and it might be likely, there's a decent probability that it's going to kind of stay a bit flared as we go through this, this last birthing tunnel of chaos. before we get to the light at the end of the tunnel, with a lot of changes in our society. So if you're getting like the headaches, or you get the rashes, or, you know, a belly that's a little bit more sensitive, or whatever, like whatever you got going on, it might not be just you and your life. It might have to do with the energetic stuff that we're going through. Okay, so be gentle with yourself, be easy with yourself, and remember that like self-care is in service then more to yourself. You know, like self-care isn't selfish. Self-care is self-full. Self-care fills up your cup so that you can be in service to others. So also during this time, let me remind you that burnout is not cool. Burnout is not fun. Burnout does not make you a better person. Burnout does not serve you in any way, and nothing is really worth your burnout, right? But burnout can be a stage of awakening. Remember when we talked about the dark night of the soul, and there's different types of it. So even if your body is purging more right now, and yeah. And also, my friend, how are you doing with dark night of the soul? I don't know how anybody could not be a little bit in it right now, you know? So I hope that you're doing good with it. For me, dark night of the soul right now has been a lot about being silent, and a lot about what do I actually want to create in this world? Is it too late? Have I waited too long? You know, like a lot of kind of programmed thoughts also about my age. Like, yeah, I've been really sifting through a lot of labels and titles and things that don't fit anymore, and shifting my focus and shifting my priorities, and becoming less codependent to my family. And, you know, like for me as a person, there's just been some things, even like in my marriage, growing a lot better communication, learning how to communicate better. There's been a lot of healing, a lot of transforming, and a lot of things changing really. And I think we will get into more of that in the upcoming episodes. So my friend, stay in your heart, stay kind to yourself and kind to one another, and know that we've got some interesting weeks ahead. But I will absolutely be in here at least 2 times a week right now with episodes for these crazy days that we're going in. So please check into the next episodes, because I'm going to be talking a lot about what is going on right now, so that you can get some real information, and hopefully things through podcasts are less censored. So thank you for being here with me. And if you do hop over to the YouTube channel, please subscribe, hit that bell so that you get notifications, because I want you to know whenever we're creating these conversations, and then you also participating in those episodes with me by like liking the video and subscribing. That helps me then get to more people. So it's really just all of us helping one another. So as always, tremendous love to you. And again, if I've missed your messages because they shut down my Instagram account for the podcast, please email me if there's anything important that you want to share, that you want to discuss. Yeah. So love you so much. Have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next episode.